WrestleBuddy Podcast. All about wrestling. Subscribe and follow for more content.
Hello and welcome everybody to the WrestleBuddy podcast. We are back with some new faces, some old faces. I've been MIA for a couple of weeks, but I'm back. I'm here at True Critch. We're here with Zane.
Hello everyone, I'm Zen. I might be new to a lot of you guys. I did a quiz a while back. I did another quiz, which will be up in a bit. You can find me on Sportskeeda. I'm an analyst there. I also write I've written a few pieces for Sports Obsessive, and I'm glad to be here. And I also want to put over Andy and her. Great guys, great podcasters. So I think over to you, Andy.
Hey guys, it's me, Andy. You can find me on Twitter at BritWrestlePC. Also find me on YouTube at Brit Wrestling Fan Podcast. And as always, you can find me. I am a WrestleBuddy. You can find me on the WrestleBuddies website. Doing top 5 or something. Latest one, which got released today, was top 5 SummerSlam gimmick matches. So check them out. Really easy reads and something just a bit fun.
Hey, it's me. It's TRC. I'm coming at you live from my hot kitchen. You can find me at WrestleBuddy Podcast or my own personal Twitter at the RevCupid61.
So we're back we're on the road to SummerSlam, and
Yay!
yeah,
I think there's been a bit of a traffic jam on the way there, Chris.
Yeah.
Is there a bump on the road?
Yeah, there's a little bumps on the road, but we're getting the card ready for SummerSlam. And first, we're up with Raw. Raw was Raw. It gets a lot of flack on Twitter, but I think if we look to the future, there's some exciting stuff happening. I think the main point was RK Bro reuniting. And then getting RKO'd at the end, but just how great is it to see Randy back? You see him actually feel the crowd, and then to end the night with the great match with AJ with an awesome RKO, and then when he hugs Riddle and then ends with the RKO, I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
What's your guys' thoughts on that, and where we see that going?
Well, as I say, it's progressing nicely, isn't it? I didn't really expect to see Randy RKO home just yet. I did see it coming on in the right way. The whole way that they've built this is absolutely awesome. It's like the odd couple, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, it's that's the saying goes, never hug a snake, and obviously he's the viper, isn't he? He's proved that with Randy. But they always say, don't do that. Some people, even if they get bit by a snake, they'll still go back to the snake. And I think that's the story we're getting here at the moment. I also think for Riddle, it's brilliant for him to showcase him at another level. And at this moment in time, he's showing he can operate at that higher level. And obviously when Randy was away, he carried that storyline. And it didn't really feel like Randy was away, if that makes sense. As much as we were happy to see him, I think that the happiness and the pop that we got was down to Riddle and the way that he carried it while Randy was away and kept his name in people's mouths, kept him going. And, I think Riddle's showing that he can carry at the top. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a Rumble win for Riddle, maybe next year or something along them lines,
Yeah.
Well, the way I seen it was, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go.
The way I seen it, it wouldn't have been Randy. It wouldn't have been Randy Orton if he hadn't RKO'd somebody, especially Riddle. I mean, that's his MO.
So I feel like that. Yeah. So sorry.
Go
yes. So I feel like that. Obviously, they're winning towards Orton and Riddle versus AJ and Amos. And frankly, this is the best thing on Raw right now, at least to me. And then here's a question: do they take the titles of AJ and Amos? Because they have been kind of good place holding, but you have to get AJ back in the singles competition for a while. Because if you focus on the other things for a while right now, because we have Lashley and Goldberg, after Lashley beats Goldberg, who else is in the upper mid card who can face him, or in the main events who can face Lashley for the title? Maybe Biggie cashes in, maybe not. But who else is there? Orton is involved in the RK Bro. Riddle is involved in RK Bro. McIntyre cannot challenge Lashley for the title. That is Lashley leads forward. So unless someone comes over for SmackDown, I think Styles would be an option if they separate him from Omos. But I think that at the time, Orton and Riddle are hot and they should be the Raw Tag Team Champions. What do you guys think?
I think now we all know the truth about Keith Lee. He's healthy. Things went. This wasn't a burial. They didn't have things planned for him. He's healthy. He's doing dark matches. I think probably to see where he goes. I've seen he's on SmackDown and Raw doing dark matches. I hope, and I could see they pick up where they left off before he was taken off due to health issues.
Do you not
Lashley.
think though, Chris, that Vince McMahon's known for this, isn't he? And I'm not saying that this is the case, but this is, if you put yourself in Vince McMahon's shoes, and Keith's had these health problems, and don't get me wrong, I wish him all the best, and I hope he gets to the upper echelons of the cards. But Vince McMahon's head, do you think to yourself, can he take the stress of being at the top? Can he, is this medical situation going to reappear again? And does that hamper him from getting that push that he was going to get?
Well, maybe that's why they want to have him on dark matches. They don't want him on TV, so people are remembering like, oh, it's Keith Lee getting big wins, and then like slowly he gets back on TV and in a real storyline.
Would you think that pushes him back a year or pushes him back further than what the plans? Because they always say WWE have plans set out 6 months in advance, don't they?
I don't know, and I think people just need to be patient too, because it's like Lee's he literally debuted the night after last year's SummerSlam. It's not even been a year yet, so let's wait. Like some people take a while to get a big thing. Look at Apollo Crews. Like I think he got called up very soon in NXT. He was hardly in NXT, and then got to main roster, was lost for years, and finally found something now.
I think also as well is maybe, they always say the best storylines that come out of wrestling is the ones that mirror real life in a sense. And, maybe we could get this Keith Lee underdog fight to the top story. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
And now it's public now, so hopefully.
Yeah. If I was McMahon, I'd do, that exact thing. I'd bring either Triple H, Stephanie, or even Shane, or maybe even Vince himself, and kind of be like, he's fighting in a number one contenders match, he wins it. No, you can't have a championship because with your medical history, we can't have you doing this. And then it just kind of, he gets to that kind of the pinnacle, and then he's smacked back down again, and we build that underdog story again. But obviously people would relate to it with it having the, people aren't going to turn back on them because of the fact that he's had this real life issues, and as they always say, use the real life issues to kind of push it on the other end, on screen. You know what I mean?
This is what I don't understand about the Keith Lee thing is, okay, he's doing all these dark matches. Well, why put him on the main TV show and have him with a win over Karrion Kross? Okay, it's not that he needs it. He's already proved that he can carry the torch. I mean, they did make him champion of NXT for a while, right?
I think that.
I mean, he's proven he can carry the torch as far as the pressure, the torch, or whatever you want to call it. The company can be put on his back. He's already proven that. My question is, why put him against Karrion Kross? I mean, what was the purpose of that particular win? I mean,
Karrion's whole main roster thing is just weird to me. Like what? Like he's on it. He's on the main roster as champion, but then is losing here and winning there, and losing and winning. Like
50-50 booking with no reason.
I don't know. Are they building Cross to face Lashley? But he's not face. So
there was something on Shaw Ross Sapp's Fightful patron, and they were saying about how at first the plan was Cross to kind of lose and stuff like that, and then eventually it was to kind of build them up, and then Scarlett comes in and gets control of him. That was like the original plan. I don't really see the point in that, but
but I guess that's gone in the bin now.
Yeah, I mean,
that's another thing. A question: why bring in Scarlett? I mean, it's like
because without Scarlett,
he doesn't need Scarlett. Number one.
Oh, he does.
And his entrance with Scarlett, kind of takes away from the whole storyline somewhat because everybody's concentrating on Scarlett and not Karrion Kross, right?
But the thing is, it's still people are still focusing on him on his own. Nobody's focusing on anything. I believe he needs. I think the two of them as a package are awesome. You know,
and then Scarlett would be lost without Cross too. Like, where does she go after?
I think the two of them are the package.
Having a few dark matches herself there, trying to get on the main roster.
If I was going to book it, and it was me being the booker, what I'd do is I'd have, if you were going to go down the Lost storyline with Cross, I'd have him losing, but I'd have him losing in a way where he goes wild and does something wild and then gets rolled up. Like he tries to run at someone or he, just loses control, and then he brings Scarlett in, who refocuses him, do you know what I mean? And directs the energy in the right way. And kind of, you know what I mean, don't you? Kind of, like a runaway steam train. You need a driver behind it to get it under control. And that's how I'd book it if it was going to be me. I mean, I wouldn't have booked it in the first place. I would have just had him squash everyone when he first come on.
But the problem with that, would be he would end up being just an attraction, not a... there's always that danger too, right?
Yeah.
I think it's too quick for him to have that push right now. Anyway,
but that's why if you bring Scarlett in, though, you have him on his own for a while, and whatever they build to it is, and then Scar comes in, it gives him a story. Because as you say, maybe he's just an attraction where if you take Scarlett away and then bring her back again, it shows a kind of a human side. Do you know what I mean? And shows that there's a bit more of a layer to him than just the monster. Do you know what I mean? Which is why I think he needs Scarlett with him.
I mean, they are an item in real life, so I mean, why not? But the thing is, as far as his career, he doesn't really need her because it takes the attention off of him. You want the focus to be on the wrestler, not on his sidekick or valet.
I think the issue is that I think Adam Cole during the NXT building the 5-minute NXT takeover in your house. I think Adam Cole literally said to him in a promo that you're nothing without the lights, you're nothing without Scarlett. And when he's called up to the main roster, he's actually nothing without Scarlett, and he's actually nothing without the lights and the smoke and the entrance. So I think that's the story they would
answer me this question.
Yeah,
is Brock Lesnar nothing without Paul Heyman?
Yeah, but
he still has that aura, but without Heyman giving those promos, you're not as excited for.
But when Brock first come in, if Brock wouldn't have come in with Heyman at the start,
it was rough. It was rough at the start without Heyman. I didn't really like. I was really enjoying him at that time.
Even in 2012, when he came back, he said, "I want my feud." It would never exist that quick. He said, "I want Heyman with me. I'm not cutting for him."
Yeah, those were rough at the beginning.
Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Harold.
Brock, I mean, you hear all the stories. I mean, you got Dana White saying he's a unique individual, and it's not exactly easy to deal with him anyway.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is, Harold, is just the fact again is it just shows you that some people need that valet, some people need that voice box with them, some people need that person with them. Because on their own, they just look wrong. Like Brock Lesnar.
I agree 100%. But Brock Lesnar did not need Paul Heyman. He was already a big name before Paul came into the picture anyway.
But the thing was, with Paul Heyman at his side, it took him to that level. He may have been this name and he would have got somewhere by being Brock Lesnar. But Paul Heyman added to that. And that's what I think this could be with Scarlett and Karrion, is he can add to that.
Yeah.
But
and you get more excited with Heyman as your mouthpiece. And then I think Heyman sold every Brock match, and every Brock match you would have, and he wouldn't be there for weeks. But then once that Brock match happened, he would deliver.
I think Heyman was. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, look at him now with Roman. Heyman doesn't do as much talking, but he still like gives the story of the tribal chief now.
Yeah, I feel like
just
he was very integral to like selling the idea that Brock defeated the Streak, because when Brock was away, imagine if Heyman weren't there. Imagine if Heyman couldn't partner with Cesaro. Like you wouldn't have that iterated on every single show on Raw that Paul Heyman, that Brock Lesnar beat Undertaker Streak. So I think Paul Heyman was very important for people, for reminding people that he's the guy who beat the biggest undefeated streak in the history of wrestling. So I think without Paul Heyman, I think Brock Lesnar wouldn't be here where he is at that level, like Andy said.
Cool.
Yep.
Should we wrap Raw up now, because we haven't even talked about Raw?
Yeah, we were trying to Raw, for being one of the worst shows according to Twitter. We really went at it on Raw, but yeah.
We
let's go.
Interesting.
Let's go to NXT. Supposedly dying, but I don't believe it until I see it. These things, they're still. I don't think.
Do you know what, Chris? I said, sorry to cut you off, mate. I said this last week, and I'll say it again, and I'm going to keep on saying it. NXT isn't dying; it's going back to what it should have been.
Thank you. But my main point for this week in NXT: get them out of the CWC, because like for some reason they boo MSK. Really weird of that. Like they're freaking awesome. Like they get people get upset when people like aren't champions right away, and look, they gave them everything right now and they're doing great. And then what really annoyed me of this crowd this week, Walter comes back, and it's Walter. Like you don't get to see this guy in the US as much. And you start seeing fans in the background start walking out, and like you don't hear a pop, you don't hear anything. And then like I noticed it right away. Dragunov got the win. Right away, people started leaving. I was like, "What the hell? Like, how am I supposed to be excited for 36 if this crowd isn't getting excited?"
Dragunov lost.
I'll tell you what. If I was WWE, if they've got any sense at all, me personally, I would go and get somewhere in Florida or Universal Studios, in Disneyland or Universal Studios. I'd pop it there, where you're going to get full crowds every week because people will go in just based on the fact it's a WWE NXT product. I'd roll it all around and give these people chances. I'd still run the storylines and whatnot, but one, you're going to get good crowds every week. Two, people will sit and get interested. And three, it'll be what it should be, a developmental program. The problem that NXT at the moment, in my eyes, is it's growing its own cult following, which should never be the case with a developmental territory. A developmental territory should be there to bring people up, train them up, and pass them onto the brands. As I've said before, the likes of Johnny Gargano, and that should not be on there. You know, if you want to keep a few of them around, maybe to help out with the talent and help them grow, that's absolutely fine. But it shouldn't have a cult following. It shouldn't be recognised as a brand. It is a developmental.
Well, it wasn't designed to be a brand anyway. It was designed.
Well, it wasn't, but that's what it turns into.
It took on a life of its own. And
do you know what? I totally disagree with that. It is WWE's fault, Harold, because it was a developmental brand, and it was a great developmental brand until AEW launched.
I agree.
And then once AEW launched, not only did other people seeing it as a different product, but also I think WWE seeing it as a different product, and they lost the way with it. What's your thoughts on that, Chris?
Yeah, I think it should get brought back, because then if it's a third brand, people overstay their welcome. I saw it. I see it with Gargano and Ciampa. Like they've done everything on that, especially Gargano. He's done everything on that roster, and like, what more can you do? And like, we get it. Like, you will have a good spot in here, but will you really be successful if you don't try to go to the main roster? And let's see what you can really do. And then I was watching, but I love the way, but it's like, can we go? I was watching the whole Indy and Dexter thing. I was loving it. It was hilarious. And then I was like, man, imagine if these four, the way, end up on the main roster. And then congratulations to Candice LeRae having
on the little
giving a,
on the way, baby.
yeah.
Well, she's a real trooper. She's going to be on TV until she absolutely can't.
Yeah, but hopefully, like congrats to Candice. Selfishly, I would still want her to do little things in her house like they've been doing as of late. But if she take all the time you need,
and the thing is, I just want to clarify. It's not that I'm saying the likes of Gargano and that should be fired. I'd never. I mean, especially with a baby on the way, I'd never wish that on anybody. It's just I'm sick to death of people going on about NXT saying, one, it's dead. Two, it's being ruined. It lost the war. It's lost what war? Come on.
Exactly.
Especially
what
nowadays.
War? There is no war.
And you can go on all you want about ratings. What was because they watch AEW live? They'll go and watch NXT on the catch up TV on your TiVo box or whatever you watch it. Then do you know what I mean? It's don't the way like Meltzer and these other people are still quoting ratings constantly. It's like in this day and age. Let me ask you, Chris. Do ratings matter?
No, because there's so many different even regular television, it doesn't matter because you can watch a show. I watch most shows recorded or Hulu. There's so many streaming, like there's streaming numbers, but like I would watch
I'll tell you, apart from the big four or TLC, sorry, the Money in the Bank. And the big four, as I like to call them, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, and the Money in the Bank now. So the big five for me, I will watch live in the UK. Apart from that, there's no wrestling I watch live because of the time difference. We're talking 2 a.m. for SmackDown, 2 a.m. for Raw, 2 a.m. for NXT. I just catch them all on an app. And the same with the pay-per-views. Apart from the five that I've just mentioned, I watch the rest of them mostly on the WWE Network when I finish work the next day. So, you're quite right. It's like, I just don't get why this big ratings thing. And, the other thing that I say is AEW. I love AEW, so don't get me wrong. This is not me like I'm a WWE mark and I'm sticking up for them or anything like that. It's my whole thing with this is you're trying to base it off American ratings only. Let's just look at the people that are sitting here right now. You're the only American, Chris. So you've got Zayn, Pakistan. Got Harold, Canada, myself in the UK, and Alex, obviously, our WrestleBuddy chief, is based in India. So all of us are in different multiple countries. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of these countries may not watch AEW or may watch AEW, but WWE has still got a bigger print or whatever it may be. But it's like there's so much focus on just US ratings, and I just don't get the fascination with it.
Yeah, I feel like there's a big there's a big chunk of Indians that watch WWE. Like they get a whole lot of ratings from India. Like as you said, Andy, like there are so many people, especially nowadays, who watch things on delay, like the DVR or catch on the network the next day. Like I don't see the point in calculating ratings right away. Like of those people who are watching that, there's so many people around the world, not only in the US, around the world who watch it on delay. So yeah, I think the ratings argument just ends right there. What do you think?
Yeah. What do you think, Harold?
Number one, they don't pay me to think because I don't think. I have to kind of disagree with the NXT pay-per-views coinciding with the WWE pay-per-views. The only reason why they are as popular as they are now is because they're basically the same weekend as a WWE. What I'd like to see is them do a big four, like a Survivor Series or
WrestleMania.
Yeah. I think the pandemic kind of hurt that too, because they were like, so like they could have been having takeovers here.
Yeah, well, we were meant to have one in Belfast in June.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They were trying to bring it, and then
I think that was Walter versus Finn Balor. Maybe I'm not sure if that was.
Oh yeah. Well, they were teasing Finn and Walter.
Yeah.
Well, but Finn Balor's from Ireland, isn't he? So
that would have been huge.
Yeah. But I've got no problem with the takeover taking part on the same weekend as major WWE pay-per-views, and and all that, because again, if you've got fans there that are like, you know, you like yourself, Chris, you're traveling for WrestleMania, it's SummerSlam, sorry, and it's like, yeah, you're going there for SummerSlam. If you're going there for SummerSlam and there's an NXT event taken on the night before it happens, but you're already in that state, or you know, in that place for that event, you're gonna go and watch it. And also it gives the talent again that next step up from the NXT weekly show, and it's not as big as what the main pay-per-views are, but it gives them that big crowd and that expectant crowd, and you know, they can make the arena bigger and whatever else that they do. I totally agree with that, because again, it's still part of the development of them stars. Do you know what I mean? But when you start trying to make it something that it isn't, as it has been, and you're bringing Finn Balor back into NXT, Samoa Joe back into NXT, you've still got some of these people there. It's like, you know, how many people, and this is where I said about the releases the other week as well. And again, you know, I don't like to see anyone lose the job, but by them leaving, how many people is there in the Performance Center that have not even hit TV yet?
Yeah,
that probably need a spot on TV. And unfortunately, you've got to keep that conveyor belt running. You've got to let that talent breathe and come across. So if you come to the end of the line and you haven't made it to the main roster, then there's no plans for that. Not only to let the talent come in the other end, but also if that talent's not ready, let them go away. Let them perfect the craft. Let them take what they've learned, go and earn some money elsewhere, perfect the craft, and then come back or go to AEW or go somewhere else where it fits for them. But leaving them there, just sitting on telly, comfortable, earning money and doing whatever, and just sporadical appearances and whatnot, it's not going to do anybody any favors.
Absolutely.
I would love to see NXT do their own. I think they're strong enough that they can stand up on their own without the same weekend pay-per-views as the thing. I'd like to see them do 4 pay-per-views a year without it coinciding with any other major pay-per-view that WWE puts on. I think they're strong enough for that. You don't have to give them 12 or whatever a year.
I just think that
4 or 5 or even 6 a year, and
it's just that again, though, it's bringing them on their own, isn't it? Which is what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to keep them tandem and develop these stars into where they should be, rather than again segregating NXT.
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess this is going to have to be a case.
Do you think their television deal is going to be renewed, Chris?
And if it doesn't, then they have the network. That's the thing. Like, people say it's dead, but then we got the network.
Yeah, it's not going to be dead.
Yeah. I
it's definitely not going anywhere.
I love the network, or even the Hulu. I would get it. I got Hulu specifically just to watch NXT because it was the only way to watch it. And
wow.
I loved, like, it made it so cool. Like, you find this other company that WWE kind of owns, and you're watching their future stars, like watching Chris Hero there, Sami Zayn start. Like, those were like I love that era. So if it goes back to that era, I don't mind. It's still fun to me.
A 1 hour weekly show, not on US Day.
Like, it's still like I just think they need to get out of the CWC crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
I just think the biggest thing with it is either 1, make it a fair brand, or 2, put it back to what it should be. And if you're going to make it a fair brand, you need to start making something else to take over that in the long run.
So let's.
I like the developmental thing about it. That's
okay. Should we move on?
Yeah, let's go to AEW. Kind of overshadowed Dynamite, I think, was Rampage, the 3 championship matches.
Oh, I've heard.
Yeah, I still thought that it was the AEW was a decent show, though. I'm just trying to let me just look here because I've got a lot of notes on AEW.
Dynamite. I think it was it was opened by. Top.
Can I just say how the Sidzel brothers? I just took the words right out of my mouth, saying, how fantastic were they?
Yeah. I loved Matt
Dante Martin
back in the day, and like it's great to see him. I just hope like they keep getting TV time because every time I feel like you remember, you forget that Matt Sydal and his brother are signed to AEW, and then they come back on TV all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my only issues with that. Like keep it up, like keep showing them on TV.
Yeah, I thought apart from that, I thought that was a really good match. Obviously, the Jericho one was okay. And for me personally, I don't know how you all feel, but I thought it was an anticlimax. From I think
it was like I was getting more excited every week. The labors after Sean Spears, and then Warlock.
I thought it was going to be something big.
It was too obvious.
Maybe Dean Malenko, Lance Strong. I didn't think it was going to be Warlock. Like I didn't.
I mean, if it was me personally, I would have had Nick Gage as the last one, the Deathmatch King, and that's the final one you've got to overcome to take on me. You know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong, it is what it is, I suppose, and they're trying to probably sprinkle some of the eyes onto Wardlow, aren't they? Probably looking at him going forward, but it's just, and the one thing I will say is I am looking forward to Jericho versus MJF because just for the entrance, because obviously we all know the whole crowd is just going to sing Judas.
That's the point of the whole thing, to get them to acapella.
And I think that's very clever. I think that's very, very clever.
Yeah, also I was a big fan of Wardlow taking the loss, because Wardlow was being built really strong, and I don't think there was a need for him to be a neighbor of Jericho. They could have had someone else, even some from the independent circuit could have popped up. And having Wardlow as fourth level was, I think, all around in my mind, wrong choice. But I guess they're building towards a Wardlow turning on MJF quite soon. I'm not sure how they go from there. What do you think, Harold? What did you think of this?
A lot of people seem to forget that the age of Chris Jericho. Okay, the guy's 50 years old. Okay, you can't expect him to do the same things now that he has done then. Okay, he's 50 years old. He may have another 4 years max.
As we saw in Rampage, he's slowly transitioning to commentating too. So,
well, he's going to be taking a sabbatical soon anyway, because he'll be going off with Fozzy because he's due on tour in the UK, believe it or not.
But he has some Wednesdays off. I think that during the tour dates, there are some Wednesdays off, so he's going to be popping up here and there.
What confused me is why the fifth labor on Dynamite. This felt like very all out type of match with it being so soon already. All out's already.
Or maybe they're prepping up MJF for someone else. Maybe someone else is going to make their debut on next Friday on Rampage. Maybe.
That's it. And also, what you've got to think of as well is with AEW at the moment, it seems to be like, that all out is going to be stacked, isn't it? Because let's face it, Punk and Brian will be there by then, and they'll probably slow burn it up to all out. So, especially with the Rampage big that they've got on Friday night coming up, it'll probably be Punk's debut. Let's face it. Don't know whether you've all seen today the comments he was making on his commentary on MMA last night.
Yeah, this guy's wrestling all the need in there. I saw that.
They go wrestling, and then he goes, it's all about rumors, and AEW, and then he goes, well, this guy looks like he's all elite. So obviously Punk's having a bit of fun, but I just feel like maybe All Out is already stacked enough to not have this on, and obviously Khan and the rest of them are always going to be kind of looking at the momentum that they're building and the ratings. I mean, it looks like, I know it doesn't matter to us, but obviously it does to them. And they're hitting over a 1 million an episode at the moment, aren't they? So they obviously want to try and keep that up. And for me, for one, the whole 5 labors, as much as I wasn't happy with the way that it's being set up with Wardlow being the last one, I felt it was a bit of an anticlimax. I've enjoyed the feud. I've enjoyed it. I thought the rest of it was okay, but this part of it with the 4 matches to get to the MJF at the final one was expertly thought of and really well done. Apart from, as I say, if it was me, I would have had Nick Gage as the last one. The most dangerous match is the final before he goes to him.
Yeah. Also want to
before we move on to
go ahead, Harold.
Go ahead. Before we move on to the Tanahashi match, or was that his name?
Yeah.
Another thing a lot of people forget about Jericho is that he knows how to put people over, whether they're winning or losing.
Yeah.
They get put over.
Mm-hmm. He
Yeah.
knows how
A
to
lot
make
of people seem to forget that. And I think that's why he's got another few years left in him. He knows how to put them over, whether they win or whether they lose. It's not whether they win or lose.
No.
It's they get put over. And he has done that consistently.
Yeah. And one thing I just want to say, you know, obviously we're going to move on, but I think it's probably best we just move straight on to Rampage, if that's okay, because
I
liked
think it's overshadowed.
I liked Rampage, but I am going to say something, and it may be controversial, maybe not. I'm not bothered, it's my thoughts, but I liked it, but it was too short for me. I felt like where Raw is too long on this one, I feel like they've got it too short. I felt like just when I was kind of building into the event, it was over.
It felt like the third hour of Dynamite. I kind of want to make it feel when like they showed the stage. I get it. They were in the same arena they were on Wednesday. They couldn't make a new stage, but I felt like, okay, it's Rampage, and the stage looks like a Dynamite stage. And then,
and I suppose it's the start of it, and I know from what I read, Tony Khan agreed to do Rampage because the network were pushing him for the third hour of Dynamite, and quite rightly he didn't want to go for the third hour. Maybe they could have done the third hour well. I think the problem with WWE, I know we're talking about AEW, but it's all, you know, in the same ballpark, is I feel like with a WWE, they struggle with a 3-hour show, one, because it's quite long anyway, but two is they have the mindset of we have to try and fill this 3-hour show rather than we've got 3 hours to do what we want here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe Dynamite would have been better because of that fact, because they might have looked at it as though with the extra hour we've actually got more time to progress a storyline or to do, you know, whatever it is we want to do. But I just feel like, you know, I'll always push Raw for being too long, and I'm going to push Rampage for being too short on this occasion.
But
I think
go ahead.
So I think that Rampage, the idea behind Rampage was that it was not to be this bite-sized version of wrestling, but like Andy said, I was just getting into it when the show ended. So that felt a bit underwhelmed, but as for the matches, very entertaining. We started off with Christian and Omega. What do you guys think about the title change? Because many people.
I
loved
think
it.
we're overlooking Tanahashi too.
Our
let's
we got notes that supposedly it's going to be Tanahashi versus Moxley at All Out, which would be a really fun attraction match for All Out. So I'm excited.
So at
for
Resurgence last night, Tanahashi beat Archer for the US title, and Moxley was watching from ringside, and Tanahashi promised Archer that he'd be coming to AEW. So I think that it's all but confirmed right now that it's going to be Tanahashi versus Moxley for the US title.
I was very confused. Like I was confused that like Tanahashi, like they made a big deal about Tanahashi in AEW just to announce a match for his company.
Yeah.
So hopefully, like, let's get it. Hopefully, this means he's showing up on AEW eventually. But we'll see. It's not confirmed.
A few more names like Will Ospreay and Jay White last night made a lot of references to AEW, so they might become over as well.
Both Impact stars right there.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm going to say I'm not happy with Christian winning on this one. I feel like it's a missed opportunity for Impact. I feel like it's a missed opportunity for AEW to have it's the first time Kenny Omega's lost in, it was 700 and something days, is it?
Yeah, something like that.
It's full year 2020.
I just feel like you've made them lose against another veteran. You know what I mean? They could have done it so much better. You know, even friggin' Jungle Boy or somebody like that who's an up and comer, even a Brian Cage, or there's lots of different names you could have used here. And I get the whole Christian win. I've got no problem with Christian winning the belt. That's not my issue. I don't mind Christian winning the Impact. I know there's history there, and everybody loves a little bit of nostalgia and whatnot, but I just feel like they lost him beating Kenny Omega. That's my issue. It's not in winning the title that's the issue. It's the beating Kenny Omega. I feel like it could have launched somebody to the stars with that.
I feel like
Does it not make like Impact's roster kind of weak that like nobody could have beat Kenny Omega? Like I knew the spoilers already, but like for weeks. But Brian Myers built up so great since being fired in Impact. Why can't it? How awesome would it have been to see Brian Myers beat Kenny Omega? As of Christian, now Christian as a transitional champion would be nice. Like is all right, but like it's like if you guys are complaining, I think like Christian's full time, he wrestles all the time, but if we're getting complaints about other guys coming in, other veterans coming in the main event, then we should see complaints about Christian.
As I say, I've got no problem with him being in the main event, but come in and put somebody over, and I just feel like that Omega slot, it should have been left for somebody else. You know, even in 4 or 5 years' time, somebody still will be talking about, could have been talking about a Jungle Boy, or, you know, as I say, some of the Impact stars, somebody coming over it and winning that, but it's just being wasted on a Christian Cage.
But sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, what about, like, do you guys think it was kind of like lackluster that it was Christian announced for All Out?
Yeah,
out of nowhere when they were building Hangman for a year.
Yeah, I think
they're not done with the Hangman Omega thing. That's for sure. They're not done with that yet.
Hangman had to go for the birth of his child. That's why it was not.
I mean, I suppose with Christian winning the Impact title, it does give you that kind of a feeling that he could win the AEW World title. You know, we all know that's not going to happen, but the fact that he's already got a win over Omega kind of makes that match more, you know, interesting, shall we say, anticipated, yeah. But as for the Hangman one, I think, for me personally, I think he's done really, really well with Hangman. I know now he's, you know, the reason he's not going to All Out is because his partner's due to have a baby. So that was always the plan in the first place. And I think because he was always going to go, I think everybody expected him to win the match, get the number one contenders. And the fact he didn't, it was like, oh, what's going to happen now? And then he just does what a cowboy does and rolls off into the wind. But now goes off on his own, and when the time's right, he'll come back. And can you imagine the pop when he comes back? And then can you imagine the pop when he actually defeats Omega in the end?
Such a beautiful story.
I hope they don't, like, with these new bigger stars coming into AEW, they don't forget about Hangman. Because
I think they're going to play Hangman. Like, Hangman's going to be the one to take the title off the AEW.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a little scenario here as well, and you're ready to hear first, right? All Out, they have the Casino Battle Royal. Now, Hangman was told he could not challenge for the title. Yeah? He comes in at the Casino Battle Royal, wins the chip, and then throws himself into the main event later in the night.
Oh, is it like a Money in the Bank type of thing? Can it be like that?
I don't think it's a cash in where he can walk out and cash it in like Money in the Bank, but he can cash it in for a match. So if he wins that because they normally have that Battle Royal at the first match of the evening. Yeah. So if he wins it there and then says, right, I want to be added into that match, and then that way you can keep their feud going longer because you've got Christy in there to take the pin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think they have the women's Casino Battle Royal this time around because they have the men's at Double or Nothing. Or maybe they can do something. Yeah, they can do something.
And I know he's got some time off for his child, but you know, obviously, All Out isn't for what? Is it 4 weeks? Is it 3 weeks? 4 weeks?
September 5th. Yeah, I think 3 weeks.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know how many of you have got children, but in England, if you have a child, you get 2 weeks off, and that's it. So I don't know what paternity leave is. I mean, I know it's probably a bit different in professional wrestling, but
the father can get like months off over here. So,
but well, maybe you just want to get back to it, and maybe that's the plan. I don't know whether it is, but you know, make sure you remember what I said. That's all I'll say.
Well, look at Cody. He
And
had
here-
the kid and was still wrestling every week on
Yeah,
Dynamite.
Well, don't forget as well, AEW don't have house shows, isn't it? So it's not like a massive schedule, is it?
Yeah.
Harold, what do you think? When do you think that Hangman's doing that?
I think a lot of people are forgetting that the undefeated streak thing was done years ago in the WWE with Tatanka.
Mm-hmm.
They're just copying old stuff from WWE as far as the undefeated streak thing. Goldberg, his undefeated streak. Okay, they're copying everybody else. But the thing is,
they're doing professional wrestling.
but a lot of people forget Tatanka had 2-year undefeated streak in WWE before he lost his first match.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like the way AEW does the lost wins. I think it really does add something to it.
Oh, big time. All I was saying is that everybody's like Hangman Page, or what, Omega, whatever his name is there. Everybody's talking about his undefeated streak, but they forget the fact that it was done in WWE by Tatanka years ago. He had 2 years in before he lost his first match.
But he wasn't world champion in multiple organizations, was he? And that's probably where the
doesn't matter. He had the undefeated.
That's where they
streak
dropped the
for
ball.
years.
They never gave Tatanka the title.
Yeah,
Take off
And that's too bad because you know what? He could have taken that and ran with it.
100%. Even if it was just the Intercontinental.
Yeah.
Let's blend this in with like some Impact talk for our friend Joe, who couldn't join the show today. Get well soon, Joe.
Get well soon, Joe.
Hey, Joe, brother. Peace and love. Pass it on. Keep rocking, man. We're thinking about you.
We got Deonna Purrazzo now holds the Reina de Reinas and the Knockout Championship. I absolutely love how they're building Deonna Purrazzo in Impact and other organizations. And yeah, I just love how she's been built up. And then another big thing that came out of Impact now we can talk about is Myers becoming #1 contender. I think that's so different.
Good
I loved
for him.
Yeah, I loved how he's made his career completely different from what he was in WWE.
Yeah, but he's also made his whole career in spite of WWE.
Yeah. I just like how different he is now outside of WWE. And
do you not think Myers reminds you a lot of Christian in his early days?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
They have a lot of similarities, like with the career trajectory.
So there's a good story there for them, but I just wish it was. Why couldn't they have someone from Impact take the title off of it, Omega? Like have him there have him there most of the year in their company just to not.
Yeah, I think it would have been a shock. It would have been a shock as well, wouldn't it? If because I think I don't know about you, but I expected Christian to beat Omega, but I wouldn't. If it was Myers that come to do it, I wouldn't have expected him to beat him.
It would have been a huge, like, talked about for years, the type of thing.
Yeah,
it should have been.
Or they could have used Cardona. There's another one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cardona is slowly building as an Impact. the current GCW champion.
The ECW original.
Yeah, the ECW original, bringing more extreme to the indies. But yeah, well, we can talk about more of Impact next week since we have Resurgence or Emergence. That got me so confused. Resurgence, Emergence coming next week.
I only got one question.
Or as I like to call it at the moment, TNAEW.
Yeah. Go ahead, Harold. What were you gonna say?
Purrazzo, she's got the 2 titles, right? Doesn't this remotely remind you of something in WWE where they kind of united the 2 titles into one at one point?
Well, it's 2 different companies, and then like they kind of need their women championship.
I'm not saying they don't. It kind of like I'm looking at it. I'm sitting there, well, gee, this looks strangely familiar, even though it's a different company, right?
Yeah.
Could this be an attempt? Because they definitely need to strengthen their women's division. I think this could be an attempt to unify the two titles for now. Because I find that they don't have enough females on the roster.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with AAA and their roster, so I wouldn't know what they have. So let's go on to SmackDown. Great show, as it's been. The promo between Cena and Roman from referencing from a Nikki Bella reference, Dean Ambrose, a Punk reference.
The only thing I'll say about that promo is this is what happens when you let the talent involved in their own promos.
Yeah, it's what I've been waiting for, because they had a great promo
for No Mercy
several years ago.
Yeah.
They had the great promo back in the day, and then now it's like, okay, this is what I've been waiting for. They haven't had a time to like have a promo against each other. Great stuff.
Are they trying to treat it like a shoot?
Yeah, it felt pretty real to me.
Yeah, it felt as if Cena was going off the cuff.
Not working.
And it just got me excited to see, like, okay, that we're for sure seeing Rock and Roman if with these promos happening, like,
and with one of the Usos too. One of the Usos with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hope it's not a
main event. An Uso against an Uso.
I hope that with the Rock, what they do is if they do it, I don't see it being SummerSlam, Survivor Series this year. I think it'll go on a little bit longer, up until the point, and then they'll bring them back. But I'd love to see the Rock's daughter get involved somewhere along the line.
Yeah,
maybe
the rumor has it was supposed to be in Survivor Series.
Another person that's been in developmental and has not had a chance to be on TV that we're talking about earlier.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, she did have knee surgery, didn't she? She had knee surgery on both her knees. So I know she hasn't been back too long. But as I say, I would like to see him. And I think The Rock will do this because, let's face it, any father who's looking to give the daughter a bit of a rub of the green would want to get her involved, and you could have her saying, "I acknowledge you, Roman," and then Rock's got to fight for his daughter, and also the head of the table, and you could even bring some of the other. I know there's a few of them you could bring in to kind of keep the storyline going, and I think the problem you've got is when this story comes to an end, what do you do with Roman then? Because this has been his most successful thing of his career. And the big dog character never worked out, and the head of the table is working out brilliantly. I just feel like if I was Vince McMahon, I wouldn't be in a hurry to finish the storyline off.
Do you guys think that? How do you guys think that Roman is going to turn face maybe 2-3 years down the line? Or do you think they're going to take that risk again?
I don't know. It's got to be someone. They got to build up someone bigger, a bigger heel.
I think he's already turning face though. Do you know what I mean? I think
that's
I think
plan.
Slow. Don't get me wrong. I think Zayn's right. I think it's about 2 years away, but it's already slowly but surely coming around. Do you know what I mean? In the same way that Austin did. Austin was never
huge. It's going to be huge, if not bigger than The Rock.
And he's going to be the hottest babyface then.
Because realistically, look at The Rock when they brought him in as Rocky Maivia, and he was the Intercontinental Champion. Everyone hated him, and then he joined the Nation, and we were off to the races. And then when he did finally turn face and all this stuff, and I think as long as they keep the kind of perimeters that they've got in place and the fundamentals of the character, it could work. As in the same way Rock did. Austin's probably a great example. Is Austin was the bad guy that was cool, and I feel like every little bit, like the little comments about like John Cena, it's like the missionary position over and over. All this little stuff is like all this stuff is just you see the crowd starting to cheer certain sections of the crowd are cheering them and little bits, and I agree with Zane. I think it's about 2 years away, maybe a year. But I think that's going to be an organic change. the worst thing WWE could do at the moment is try and push it. I feel like, you know, when they've tried to push Roman in the past, it's failed, same as it did with The Rock back in the early days and whatnot. It's let it just happen. It will happen, but let it happen organically. And I think that's, you know, Paul Heyman will be the one banging that drum. Is, you know, he's always saying, isn't he, about letting things happen organically, and it'll just, if it's meant to happen, it will happen. And trust me, it will happen.
Yeah, like Eddie Kingston, like having turned face.
Yeah, that happened naturally. Yeah, I'm just really excited for this match. They're great. Like, I'm more excited for this one than the one back in 2017 because these guys are just on a whole different level. And
I think I think WWE missed a great opportunity here. If you want to create a Samoan dynasty, create a Samoan dynasty. Tamina Snuka, Nia Jax,
Naomi.
I mean,
married, yeah.
Come on.
Well, apparently, sorry to put in, Adult. Do you know, you're 100% right, but did any of you know that Naomi is now being slated to SmackDown?
Yeah, she was reportedly transferred over to SmackDown.
Save it for post SummerSlam because it's like we're already like we already got a lot going.
Over
right
inundated with debuts and
yeah. So
I think she could come into the Tribal Chief storyline somewhere along the way.
Kind of like convincing.
I agree with you. I agree with Brandy.
If they want, if they might see, you know what we're seeing with the kind of cheers of the crowd and stuff like that, yeah. And how kind of to knock him to more heel, to rack him right into a heel turn. How would it make more anything if he brought Naomi in as his? And it's like, it's Fingy's missus, but now she's with me, and you've got to acknowledge it. Do you know what I mean?
Great.
Liger's now at the head of the table. What do you think about that?
Do you know what I mean?
I think if Roman's going to make his turn to face, Naomi's going to be the bridge.
No, I think Naomi could be the one to whack it right back into the other way, because if he comes in and Roman brings it in as his arm piece, and then it's like that's a Jey Uso. Well, I'm the head of the table. She's with me now. You've just got to acknowledge it. And Jey's like, okay, do you know what I mean? Adds another layer to the storyline, doesn't it? And also it makes
it with the storyline, though, don't you think?
Hey.
Don't you think that would be overdoing it with the storyline?
Well, not really, because look at the fact that when Jimmy was getting beat up every night by Roman and all the rest of that went on with that, and then Jey come back and it was acknowledge me, bang, 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 and like knocked them down. And even when they won the tag team titles, there was like a bit of a thing, but it was like, but don't forget, do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's like Big E with the Money in the Bank case. A lot of people forget he's got it.
Yeah, actually, Baron Corbin has it now.
Well, yeah, Baron Corbin stole it.
This Baron Corbin thing. I hope this it goes off.
I hope they resolve it soon.
Vegas, he wins money. Like
imagine if he's the one to take down Roman.
I think he's going to beat Shinsuke for the Intercontinental.
Oh yeah, with Shinsuke.
Did you see that they reported a couple of weeks ago on Fightful that WWE have trademarked the name Happy Corbin?
Yeah.
Yes.
So people were bashing on it, but it's like, okay, look where this is going.
Let's wait
and you know what? To be fair to them, they're telling the story real well. I don't like the fact of like John Cena beating up on him and stuff. I just didn't think that was kind of needed or necessary at that point. But I think the whole purpose of the story, and it's a real good story to tell, is obviously he's going to be at the lowest of the lowest. He can't go any lower. And then it's next minute he's going to be like, well, I can't go any lower, so I'm just going to have to be happy. And positivity will get me to the top. A bit like a Daniel Bryan story, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it would help. But like, it's just something different. Like, we're not used to Corbin being a baby face, and let's see where it goes. Like, yeah.
As far as John Cena beating up Baron Corbin asked for it by calling him a cheapskate. Okay, I just wanted to throw that in there. Baron Corbin did ask for
that. Also, I want to point out, Balor not being absent this week, but still,
Yeah.
like, what are they? What are they
Yeah,
doing with
what-
Corbin's, with Balor's
It seems to be
presence
at it seems to be at the moment that like I still think he's got a part to play in the main event because it seems to be the week Cena ain't there. That Balor fills in,
What if he
and then
costs
when
another title?
I agree with you, Andy.
yeah, we could get a heel turn from Balor where he comes out and turns on Cena and then sets up a Survivor Series match between Balor and Cena. You know, we
I
could get
agree.
something like
seems
that.
like Well, I think Cena's going away for another movie, but I think he probably loves this right now that he'll probably come back for around Survivor Series.
Or maybe have Balor drag Cena, like absolutely destroy Cena, like to cement his heel.
They have already extended his storyline. It was supposed to end at SummerSlam, but they are extending it heavily.
Yeah.
I think also as well as I think it's the fact of I don't see them giving him the championship.
No.
But
Yeah.
the other thing that we could see is you know, some
heel
kind of
turn for the
interference from
Demon
somewhere, and Cena gets that 17th championship, and then the Friday SmackDown the week after, he loses it to Finn Balor with a Roman Reigns
Nope.
costing him it. So Cena still gets a 17th championship. I mean, the one thing nobody's mentioned along the way here is Brock Lesnar. You know, Brock Lesnar's got to figure into this storyline somewhere along the line.
He's signed with another company already.
No, that they said it was apparently he'd signed with another MMA company. There was no, it wasn't a wrestling company. So you know, don't forget as well. They haven't even announced to be his yet. And if it's Bellator, don't forget how many Bellator superstars did we see in Impact in back
And
at
another thing
Mo
too,
Lord and whatnot.
technically
it's
still
different
part of
cardio. It's different cardio. MMA and WWE.
Lashley technically is still part of Bellator too. I've heard in interviews once he's done with WWE, he can go back to Bellator.
Yeah. And the thing is, a star like Brock Lesnar, I think he's got the kind of sway to do what he wants, hasn't he? And he can kind of go back and forward if that's what he wants to do. And you know, we all know Lesnar loves the money, so that'd be perfect for him, wouldn't it? But I just feel like everybody's missing out on the point of I think Brock Lesnar's going to have a say in this storyline as well somewhere along the way.
Financially, it works out great for Lesnar. Financially. Health-wise, it's another matter completely because they're two completely different kinds of cardio. A lot of people don't. I can't stress enough how a lot of people don't realize how different the cardio is between MMA and WWE. It's two totally different kinds of cardio. It could screw up. It could potentially screw up his health.
We'll see what happens there. I think the last thing I wanted to bring up, the promo of Seth Rollins and Edge, like a little video package of him doing everything Edge has done, but better.
Everything you can do, I can do better. Yep.
Yeah. We got a great video package. I'm excited for this. Like, this is a dream match.
I was going to say it's a dream match you would have put together on like a WWE video game or something.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I cannot wait for this. I'd never, since going back to wrestling shows, I've not seen Edge ever live in person. So that's like a dream to see him. And
this is the perfect field. Like ever since he came back, people were like, when is he gonna face Rollins? Because he almost broke his neck like 6 years ago.
Yeah, great that they're like acknowledging that, since WWE isn't acknowledging a match from 2017 that Cena and Reigns had. Like they kind of forgot about that. Like,
I think as well as the Edge, I think he's got a long way to go in his career now as well. I think if they keep using him the way they are, and he hasn't got that full-time heavy schedule, which let's face it, he's not going to. It's brilliant, and I hope that we see him for many more years.
I hope we get more dream matches. Like it was a rough start with the million Randy matches, but now finally we're getting these other dream matches.
Edge versus Styles.
Yeah, Edge and Styles, switch them brands.
Edge and Adam Cole.
Edge and Adam, that one would be a good one if he's staying.
Even Edge and Nakamura, it'd be a great one, wouldn't it?
Yeah. All these.
How about Nakamura and Styles? Have another good one.
Yeah.
They would deliver on that. They would.
I think we're going to Owens heel turn and Owens versus
I'm
Edge.
waiting for
Owens.
that. I'm
Owens
waiting
heel turn,
for
yeah.
that.
So many feuds are possible. No titles
and another-
needed. It could,
Yeah,
Another thing-
well, them two both being Canadians right itself, doesn't it?
yeah.
Another thing I'm waiting for too is a heel turn and Finn Balor come back as the demon.
Oh yeah.
Be perfect. That would be
Yeah.
like
Well,
Edge even
I tell
said he
you,
wants to face Balor.
yeah. And just to go back to that promo, Chris, does anybody else feel like Rollins is getting better at promos? Because I do.
Yeah,
This
he is.
Obnoxious suit swear Rollins it's just just when you think like Rollins can get a little stale, he like changes it up. I think
he's
like
good at that though. He's
another Jericho
great.
where he changes up and it's still money all along.
I think we're seeing the best of Seth Rollins' life skills right now.
Absolutely.
What I keep thinking as well is what I wouldn't mind seeing is just to go back to the head of the table and the head of the family, or the whole dynasty.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing a kind of couple of stables, maybe one or two, to kind of challenge them. Do you know what I mean? I think one thing is I always criticize AEW for having too many stables.
Oh, I got a lot of backlash for saying why is Christian in a trio?
Yeah,
on Twitter, and people would not stop saying like. Oh,
well, the thing is, they are, haven't they? In AEW, it's like you can't be on, It's
like, and like, I was kind of like thinking, the end of SmackDown, Sasha got backup, and I was like, are they trying to do an AEW type of thing where Sasha needs backup? Like,
I don't understand why.
Like Britt just got a third girl for her. Just got
do you know what?
Yeah,
I
bring back Ruby Soho.
Do you know what I think we might be setting up for here is Becky's return. I think everyone expects. And the reason I think she'll end up back on SmackDown is because Seth's there, and I feel like the two of them, because the parents, if they've got like a babysitter or whatever, then they can go on the same tour of the SmackDown and stuff, and then they're back at home the same days as a family with a young baby. Where if the two of them are on different shows, they'll be passing ships in the wind. So I expect to see Becky back on SmackDown, and I
wholeheartedly agree with you on that one, because they don't like splitting up married couples or even people not married yet. They don't like splitting the couples up. It doesn't do them any good.
I don't think Becky has to go for the belt straight away. I don't think she needs it. Do you know what I mean? She doesn't need that belt. The only thing that annoys me is, and it really pisses me off, is the fact of why is Carmella and Zelina Vega with Sasha? Have you paid them? Have you offered them title shots when you win the title? Why? Or have you just said, come with me, and they've just gone, okay. Because them two were wanting the belt like none other the other week, and now they're kind of playing your two little stooges. So it's like, explain why. And that's always my thing. It just annoys me when it's kind of just, we're just meant to accept the fact that they've come out and joined Sasha.
Well, maybe we'll get an explanation. That too, I was about to say, when we were talking about Naomi, having her turn heel and kick off a feud with Bianca would be something very new and refreshing. The glow gimmick works, but if she changes up to heel, it would be a nice little change for Naomi.
I want to see the finish of Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch before I see anything else. There is some unfinished business there.
Yeah,
I think they really need to reinvent. I really wish they reinvent Shayna and bring her back to the main event scene.
I think Shayna is at that point now where, as much as I know she's really, really good and stuff, it's like sometimes I forget she's there.
It's sad.
Which is sad. It's really sad.
I want to see Becky Lynch return. When she returns, interfere in a Shayna Baszler match, because there's a lot of unfinished business there, because, about what, quote unquote, the bad things Shayna has been saying. So definitely there is some unfinished business there.
Yeah. There's a lot of potential for
in a Shayna Baszler match.
Yeah. A lot of potential for Becky, but just the one thing is, please no more Charlotte Becky. please.
That's what I'm a little worried about.
I agree.
If she returns to the.
That's been done. Yeah. That's been done to death.
And I kind of, I don't know if like, what do you guys think Nikki will leave with SummerSlam? Because honestly, like people might hate this, but like I am enjoying the Nikki Ash thing.
I'm enjoying it too.
She's delivering it. She deserves it. Like I've been a Nikki Cross supporter since day one. I love that she's in the main event. I wasn't here when you guys discussed her wins on post Money in the Bank, but I think it was a great. I honestly, the week where she beat Charlotte clean in that street fight, I thought that was like that gave me more happiness than seeing Cody Rhodes like his little retirement.
We all know he's going to take time off to do the big, whatever is the other show he does there.
Yeah, but it's like that retire having AEW end like that compared to Raw ending with Nikki Cross celebrating with fans was for 1,000 times better for me.
They don't do that too often, and I think that's a good thing that they don't do it too often, because when they do let the wrestlers actually go and celebrate with the fans, man, it means a lot more.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. So yeah, I think
it would be cool to see Nikki Ash and Becky Lynch as a tag team.
Yeah,
be really interesting.
Been all over the place today, kind of different format this week compared to usual, but next week we'll have a great SummerSlam preview, the 100th pre-show,
the quiz final.
Quiz. We got the quiz finale coming up.
That's one.
We'll record that next Friday, and
I think we may even have an interview.
And then we got some great interviews. We just uploaded one today.
Dark Sheik,
which was an awesome interview. Awesome.
Yeah, Dark Sheik. Check
that
out.
Was a great interview. That was a great interview.
Real eye opener. I really enjoyed that interview. I thought it was a real eye opener. Totally changed my opinion, and I'll be totally honest, it did. So make sure you go and check it out, guys. Really, really important to watch that.
For sure.
Check out our articles on WrestleBuddy.com. Follow us on Twitter, Wrestle_Buddy, and we'll see you guys next week. You guys can follow me at True Critch. Zane.
You can follow me at Zane.
There you go. Andy.
You can follow me on Brit Wrestle PC on Twitter, and also check out some of my videos on Brit Wrestle Fan Podcast on YouTube.
And you can follow me or you can find me at WrestleBuddy Podcast, or my own personal thing, the Rev Cupid 61. I just want to say peace and love. Pass it on. Keep rocking, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. See you guys.